Spicy.
Hey everybody, welcome. Real quick, we're doing a little Boom Buck and Blue podcast hot takes. We got me, Boom. We got Buck here as well. First thing we're gonna hit today. Number one game, college football playoff. Ohio State versus Clemson. Rematch of last year. Jimmy, quick thoughts. What do you think, Clemson, Ohio State?
So overall, if you're looking at both teams, you can't base it off of records because the two teams didn't play the same amount of games. That's no fault of Ohio State. That's based off of COVID. It's 2020. It's a weird year. Clemson is a very good team. I mean, that's not a hot take. Ohio State is a very good team. That's not a hot take either. The question is, and you were bringing it up before, is where is the weakness when you're talking about Clemson? And I don't know where it is. The only thing I can think of is they lost four people off their offensive line. I don't know if you know this. Ohio State's defensive line is very good and has been very good for quite a while. So the only thing I could think of is possibly an exploitation there.
Yeah, and I agree with you. Like that's kind of like the big thing, and it's not a knock on Ohio State, and maybe it has to do with like them playing 6 games. Like not saying that it's bad that they played 6 games against the 10 games. It's more just the fact that it's harder to iron out the details
Right.
in 6 games than you can in 10 games. And like when I look at Clemson and I watch them play, I don't see something that's a weakness that I'm like, their running game's weak. You could make them run the
Right.
ball or pass the game or defensively. Ohio State's secondary is a very big weakness, especially when you're going against some guy like Trevor Lawrence. Jimmy. Ohio State's had a lot of quarterbacks. You watch a lot of quarterbacks, and I haven't got a chance to watch Trevor Lawrence a lot of times because most of the time they blow him out. But, man, when I see him play and watch a game, I forget how talented that kid is. It's absurd.
Yeah. He's going to be – I'm hoping, and here's my big hope. Like, I don't dislike Trevor Lawrence. I hate Clemson. I've made it abundantly clear. However –
You can't argue talent. You can't argue talent.
I cannot argue talent, and he's a good kid.
Right, he is.
Right, and I hope and I wish for the best. I never wish failure on somebody that I respect.
Right.
And I respect Trevor Lawrence.
Right. Yeah, he's a very good player. I think his feet will be the difference in the game.
Yes. Yeah. So that was going to be something I wanted to bring up as well. Is Ohio State has not had. You had brought it up. Ohio State has an issue with the mobile quarterback. I don't think Ohio State has an issue with the mobile quarterback. I think Ohio State has an issue with forgetting about the mobile quarterback.
So
and he's
your
a mobile quarterback.
That's your secondary, being able to turn around and look at the ball.
Yeah, that's secondary, that's safety, that's linebackers over pursuing. Right. It's bad angles. It's been an Achilles heel for Ohio State this season in particular.
Right, and I mean, don't get me wrong, people. I mean, we were sitting there, and we both. Jimmy's an Ohio State fan, talking about, but I mean, Jimmy, we got to bring up, I think Clemson's a better team. I think they're going to win the football game. However, you cannot talk about this game without talking about last year.
Right.
You just can't. And the I don't know, what do you call it? Shitty call. I don't know what else to call
I'll say it. It was a shitty call.
Yeah, it's like I don't know what else to call it. Shitty call.
If you guys have been with us since day one, which I think our first episode was right after the national championship game.
Yeah, I just got back from my ski trip, but yeah, we talked about that.
Yeah, and I said it. That was a catch. That was a fumble. That was a scoop. That was a score. And Ohio State should. And you had said it. Execute in the red zone instead of kicking field goals. It's a non-factor. I agree with you. However, that one call.
It was a bad call.
It was a bad call.
It was a bad call.
And Clemson went and scored on that drive.
Right. So, but yeah, I mean, This is gonna be a great game. Clemson, Ohio State.
Yes.
I think it's gonna come down to the wire.
In terms of tension and hype, it's there. The hype is there.
Oh, it's got everything. I think this is the most.
I'm not the only Ohio State fan that hates Clemson. Like, you got to understand, Ohio State has never beat Clemson, going all the way back to '78, and Ohio State has lost to Clemson 3 times in the last 6 years. And Dabo Swinney won't shut up.
That's true. That's very true. So yeah, I mean, like, don't get me wrong, I'm an Oklahoma fan. I mean, granted, besides, like, I do have some weight in Ohio State because you.
Right.
But I mean, the excitement's there, folks. You don't have to listen to us. If you're listening to us by now, then you know this game's gonna be good. It's gonna be a fun one. Looking forward to it. That one's on January 1st. Is that the night game or the afternoon game?
That is an afternoon game.
That's the afternoon game. That's the 2 o'clock.
I think it's an afternoon. It's either an afternoon game or I don't know. It might be a night game.
Yep. So
by the way, Ohio State wearing their '68 throwbacks.
Oh, nice. Okay.
They won the national championship the last time. The last time they wore those, they lost to Clemson.
That's not a good sign. That's not a good sign. That's Hot Takes real quick. Boom Buck and Blue Podcast, Clemson, Ohio State. Subscribe to our podcast. Hit us up on Twitter, Instagram. Jimmy, like, he's got it all. Hit us up. Check us out all the time. So, what we got?
Spicy.